Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we are going to be discussing the upcoming full moon in the sign of Scorpio for all 12 signs. Before we get into the video, if you would like your own personal chart read, I do readings and I do have some space available this week actually. So if you're quick, then you can grab one of those. Just take a look at the information on my page and you can email me or you can book through my website. If you get value from this, please give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment because that pushes the algorithm and it helps the video find the people that need it the most. And I hope everyone is well. How has everyone been? Oh, excuse me. I've actually had a week on holiday. So I'm recording this on a Saturday because we are not missing any full moon videos. But yeah, I feel a bit too relaxed and a bit too out of it actually, having a week off. So I hope you guys are all well. Now we are building to the full moon in Scorpio, and if you're anything like me, you are starting to feel this. With full moons, we can see things happening on the week leading up to it. Something may occur around the day of the full moon. This is happening on the 12th of May. I'm in the UK, so the rough time will be around... Hold on, did I set the minutes? Yeah, so it's around 5 p.m. UK time. Obviously, adjust your time zones for where you are in the world, as that will show up a bit differently. So you'll have to work out your own time zones. I'm terrible at time zones. But yes, around the 12th of May, on the 12th of May, full moon in Scorpio. But you may be feeling this weekend the intensity, the emotions coming up. For example, last night I couldn't sleep. You know, it's typical time. When the moon is full, we can't sleep. Full moon is obviously when the sun is opposite the moon in the sky. The sun is our illuminator. It's illuminating our emotions, the moon. So this is the time of the month when, number one, we can just be very, very busy. Sometimes this just manifests, especially if you don't have placements in the fixed signs around these degrees. Sometimes it just manifests as you're really, really busy in a certain area of your life, probably in the Scorpio area of your life. Things can happen, things can occur. Maybe there's an event or something occurring for you on the 12th or around the 12th. Or like I said, you can just feel busy, depending where this is in your chart. It's the time of the month where things come to a completion, they come to a culmination. There would have been a new moon 6 months ago in the sign of Scorpio. So if you can remember back to 6 months ago what you were trying to manifest, what you were trying to bring into fruition, what seeds were you planting, and how is this full moon highlighting a step forward in that area? Now, it's quite an interesting full moon actually, this one, because the rulers being Mars and Pluto being in opposition with each other. I'll come on to talk a bit more about that, but Mars has obviously just finished his retrograde, which is why I think this full moon is actually a little bit more interesting and holding a little bit more detail than other full moons. Now, it's happening at 22 degrees of Scorpio. 22 degrees is a Capricorn degree, so there may be an element of Capricorn themes surrounding this in some way for you. It could be something to do with authority, so authority, establishment, responsibility, and an element of seriousness in some way. You'll have to kind of think about what's happening and work out if you can, if the sign of Capricorn and the themes related to Capricorn are relevant in any way in terms of what's happening in your own chart. This is also happening in the third decan of Scorpio, and the third decan of Scorpio is represented by the Seven of Cups, or the Seven of Water as I have here, tarot card. So I'm going to start off by reading you the positive affirmation for this card. We'll talk a bit about the full moon, then we'll get into the signs, and I will be pulling a tarot card for each sign as well. So if you're into tarot, this book has positive affirmations, so I always like to read you guys a little bit of a positive affirmation. So the Seven of Water is connected to imagination, fantasy, artistic endeavours, co-creative abilities unleashed. Now is the time to tune in to the infinite possibilities that exist and begin to play with them. Everything begins in the world of imagination. And I seize the opportunity to dream. I allow my intuition and desire to blend in an alchemic way, forming something new. Castles in the air can become castles on the ground when I release rigidity, bend the rules, and remain flexible and open. Limitations and boundaries give way to manifestation. Spirit never doubts the power of possibility, and neither will I. So this card is really encouraging in you manifesting what you want. Now, something could be happening under this full moon where you're being encouraged to make a decision, or something could be happening, information is coming to light. Maybe you're having a breakthrough, maybe something is changing, or there's some shocking news. The full moon is opposite Uranus. So there is an element here. Uranus is involved in this full moon. And Uranus is unexpected. We can't always predict what's going to happen, but it's something unexpected. So it could be that this week you receive some unexpected news. It can be that you're having a breakthrough. Something to do with science or technology can be involved in some way. You may be having a flash of insight, a flash of, what word am I thinking of? I can't think of what word I'm thinking of. Inspiration, that's it. A flash of inspiration about something, you know, a new idea coming to you. And you know, Uranus, yes, we can't predict, and it can be something shocking. But Uranus is also about breakthroughs. So it's very independent on what is going on in your personal chart. But Scorpio is about transformation. So just on a generic kind of energy vibe, the full moon in Scorpio is asking us to transform. It's turning pain into power. It's rising from the ashes. It's bringing our emotions to the surface. So we can feel very intense under this energy because the moon in Scorpio is actually in its fall. The moon is exalted in Taurus. In Scorpio, it's fallen. It is intensity. It's out of its depth. It's kind of stuck. Scorpio is a fixed water sign. When I think of Scorpio, I think of a very, very big, still, dark lake. So imagine your emotions being heavy, intense, engulfed in this big, dark lake. And the full moon is bringing them to the surface. Things that you didn't necessarily want to say to your partner, things happening in your life, things are coming out that you weren't aware were there necessarily, and they're just happening and they're just coming out of you. They're bubbling out of you. That's what the full moon does. It brings things up. Scorpio is the sign of secrets. It's the sign of obsessions. That if you're feeling obsessive under this energy, try and channel it into, you know, Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars, which is about action. So actually it can be helpful to go and physically use your body to try and get out of any obsession or obsessive thoughts. If you're obsessing over something, it could be you're having obsessive thoughts. It could be you're stuck in a cycle. Go out and use your body. Use your physical body. Go for a run, go for a walk by water, go for a walk by water, go for a swim if you can. That would be a really great way to use this energy to try and get out of that stuckness. It can just feel very intense. So if you're feeling not yourself on the build up to this, then know that this is one of the more trickier full moons in terms of how we feel because of the intensity. Now, if you have a lot of Scorpio placements yourself, you're used to this energy. So you might not find it easier, but you will find it familiar. Now, the full moon, so it's encouraging us to transform, to regenerate. Scorpio is a very strong sign. The moon in Scorpio is, like I said, because it's fixed, but it's very strong. So it's deep and intense and in the thick of it. So this can manifest in our lives as something, especially with the opposition to Uranus, something could be coming to light, or you could be having some sort of personal breakthrough. And it can be related to something that has been going on for a little while. You know, the ruler of this is Mars, and it's still loosely opposite Pluto. Both of these planets rule Scorpio, and they've been in this tense opposition. Mars had been retrograding. So, in the first half of the year, the Scorpio section of your chart may have been stuck or going over something over and over and over. And now maybe you're saying, right, I'm done with this, I'm releasing it, I'm moving forward. And that can be part of the breakthrough for some of you with the full moon opposite Uranus. So we will touch on that when we go through the signs on an individual basis. Now, the actual full moon is trining. It's loosely trining Saturn. So there's an element of responsibility. There's an element of karma here too. There's an element of taking responsibility for your actions, or having to deal, again, it's that Capricorn theme of having to deal with authorities or institutions in order to move forward with something. But you're being encouraged here by Saturn to take the initiative, to get things in order, to have a plan. And Saturn's helping, okay? It's helping. In the sign of Pisces, which is all about, healing something. So there's an element of healing something here. Scorpio is the sign of our psychology. So, again, it's our mental health can be brought to the surface, but you are being supported by Saturn here. It's like, okay, but what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get the help that you need or the support that you need in whatever it is that you are working towards, or whatever issue is coming up for you? Now, the full moon is also trining Mars. No, it's not. Sorry. Mars Mars is trining Venus under this full moon. So Mars is ruling this, and it's in the sign of Leo, and Mars is trining Venus. So Mars in Leo has been about leadership, creativity, taking the lead, children for some of you in some way. It's relevant to children. It's relevant to being brave, being courageous, and is relevant to your vitality as well, because Leo is the sign of the sun and vitality. And Mars trining Venus in Aries, this is giving you some fire, this is giving you some courage, this is giving you a bit of get up and go to be able to move towards whatever it is that's going on. So full moon in Scorpio, something coming to light. Maybe you're being asked to transform, maybe you're being asked to deal with psychological issues. And the ruler, one of the rulers, is being encouraged by Venus. Maybe you're having support from friends or family. Maybe you're feeling more creative, more inspired to do something. Now, the modern ruler Pluto of this, Pluto is going to be squaring Mercury during this full moon, okay? So that's a bit more challenging because Mercury is our mind. So again, there's this element of obsession, overthinking, wanting to be in control of certain conversations, certain decisions is possible. So there might be, you know, again, it very much depends how this is playing out for you, but if there happens to be a conversation with, you know, a doctor or a clinician or your partner or a friend, just watch out that you might not be seeing eye to eye, because Pluto wants to have the power, and it's squaring Mercury in Taurus, which is very stubborn. So there's an element of having to have a conversation, but just kind of having to compromise maybe, or this could manifest as your thoughts. Just being obsessive, just that obsessive component to the full moon. Now, on the other hand, and on a more positive note, Scorpio is the planet of Scorpio is the sign of transformation. So whatever you're going through, whatever intensity is coming up, whatever's been going on, you are being encouraged to rise from the ashes. Like a phoenix. This is what we think of when we think of Scorpio. It's the phoenix rising from the ashes, and you're being encouraged here to do it. There is some support, like I said, from Saturn and from Mars and Venus. You know, you've got support here, even though we've got this element of what's going to happen with Uranus. But for a lot of you, it will be a breakthrough. Some of you, it will be a surprising event. But you may already know what this is. You know, I'm recording this on Saturday. The full moon is on Monday. You may already have this coming up. But you're being encouraged to transform and to actually shed your old skin. Scorpio is about leaving behind things that are no longer aligned with you. And this is where we think of Pluto. Pluto is, you know, it's like I said, the ruler of Scorpio, and it's all about living with integrity. So things that are no longer aligned for you will be taken away when Pluto is involved, when Scorpio is involved, and that can obviously feel uncomfortable. But it's about moving forward. So really, this is about stepping forward, moving forward, stepping into your power, stepping into bravery, Mars in Leo, asking for support, receiving support from Mars trining Venus, and having courage, because I think the fire signs involved here are giving you courage. Scorpio is a very brave sign. So whatever it is that's going on in your life, you're being encouraged to have bravery and move forward with integrity. So that is kind of the general overview of the full moon. I'm going to move into the signs now. Listen for your rising sign for the most accurate, but you can also listen for your sun and your moon as well. Especially the sun may be relevant, but listen for all three and piece them all together. And I'm going to start with Aries. We're going to move around to Pisces, as that is the natural zodiacal order. And do let me know in the comments as we go along how this is playing out for you. Aries, sun, moon and rising. So this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 8th house. But the sun is conjunct Uranus in your 2nd house. This is probably for a lot of you quite financial, because both of these houses, bearing in mind the sun is here and the moon is here, so both of these houses are being highlighted. So for a lot of you, it's going to be to do with money. Now, a full moon in the 8th house can be you have to borrow money, you have to take out a loan, you have to pay something off. Maybe your partner's lending you some money, maybe a friend is lending you some money, or maybe you're having to borrow some money to work towards a goal, or maybe you're having to borrow some money for something to do with your children, or a hobby or a passion project or your business. There's an element here to do with finances and something you're creating, or finances and something to do with the goals that you're working towards. And because the element of Uranus, it's usually likely to be some sort of breakthrough or change with your finances. It could be that you've paid something off, you're paying something off. It doesn't have to be that you're borrowing something. It can be that you've made money from business and you're paying something off. It can be that you are, sorting out your goals for the future and you want to say, right, I don't need this loan, I'm now going to move to this loan. The 8th house is all joint resources. So it's also your partner's money, your investments. It is also, so if it's not financial, this is also the house of psychology. It's your self-worth. It is therapy. So for some of you, you can be going to therapy. You can be going and doing something psychological with a partner or with a friend or for fun. So it could be that you're going to a tarot event, you're going to see a psychic medium. You're delving into those deeper parts of your psyche, but you're doing it probably with a partner or with a friend. Or within a group setting as possible, as Pluto is now in your 11th house of groups. But the 11th house, it's really excavating those secrets. Secrets can come out, the deepest parts of you can come out, and they can come from nowhere with the opposition to Uranus. So yeah, it's either going to be financial or it's going to be psychological. You'll have to let me know. This is also the house of your own personal transformation. So are you having a breakthrough with your own personal transformation in some way? That's very possible. So let me know in the comments, Aries, what's playing out for you, what's happening, how is this playing out for you? And remember that things do play out differently. If you've got any personal planets around the 22-degree mark, especially of the fixed signs, then you will feel this more strongly. I'm going to pull a tarot card for you, and then we will read what it says. Okay, you guys get the Ace of Water. I love this for you because this is like a new beginning. A water card for a water sign, which is a positive affirmation. Unconditional love, overflowing abundance, and the fertility of love. I am filled with love from spirit and joyously let it flow out to others where it fertilizes the seeds of co-creation. Love gives me hope, shining brilliant light on all the possibilities available to me. I am optimistic about bringing dreams into being. Spirit always informs me and guides me, allowing me to illuminate the darkest of places. So that's amazing. I'm optimistic about bringing dreams into being. So that's giving you hope. It's a positive card that something new is on the horizon, and basically you're being encouraged to kind of manifest and know that you can co-create and you can put out there what you want to bring in, if that makes sense. I will see you guys in the next one. Taurus, Sun, Moon and Rising. So you guys are experiencing this full moon in the sign of Scorpio in your 7th house of your relationships. This is all relationships. This is your best friend. This is your partner. This is your business partner. This is your therapist, your astrologer. Any kind of one-on-one relationship you have comes under the 7th house. It's the opposite to you. It's other people. Now, there can be some unexpected or surprising news to do with a partner in your life or to do with a relationship in your life. Someone could be telling you something. There can be a breakthrough with a partner. If you've been dealing with stuff, psychological stuff, maybe you guys are having a breakthrough in some way. Maybe it's something to do with your family. Maybe you're having a breakthrough to do with family plans. Maybe you're having a breakthrough to do with home. Maybe something emotional could be coming up. And the things that you're working towards in terms of your goals and your home and family life, a breakthrough is possible here. Or there's an element of surprise with the opposition to Uranus. Technology and forward thinking outside the box can be involved in some way. So whether it's medication, whether it's, Uranian things. So anything that's kind of scientific, forward motion, those can be relevant when it comes to this thing with your partner or with a best friend. But because you are a fixed sign and all of this has been going on, Mars opposite Pluto in these houses, you've now got the full moon. This is going to be relevant for you guys, I will say. Mercury's just moved into your 1st house. So conversations, local trips, communication, appointments, that's all kind of possible for one reason or another. For some of you, but the full moon itself is highlighting something to do with a significant person in your life. You guys get the Two of Earth or Two of Pentacles. So this is about weighing up your options. I'm going to read you the positive affirmation. So, pleasurable work, adaptability, balance between work and play. My efforts bring me joy. Play and work are not separate because what I'm doing is actually fun. If conditions change, I can switch gears easily. I'm fully present in the excitement of creativity and I'm eager to experience the surprises that occur when seeds I have planted take root, sprout and develop in unexpected ways. This is a time for flexibility and trust in how the universe will shape what is coming into being. One way or another, my dreams manifest in the material world. Okay, so that's kind of cryptic, I guess, when it comes to, you know, things to do with you and another person. But again, it's just encouraging you that you are able to co-create and you have to be flexible. And the universe is shaping something. And, you know, with twos, we are encouraged to find balance. But there can be two options as well. So that is also, it could be an element of maybe you're having to make a decision about something. But finding balance and harmony and accepting help can also be coming from a two as well. So it could be that you are working with somebody. So you could be working with, you know, a doctor, a therapist, that kind of thing. That could be relevant under this for some of you. So you'll have to let me know what happens under this full moon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising. So this full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 6th house. This is your work, your routines, your health, your daily routines, things that you do on a day-to-day. This is your pets. Something's happening here, a change. Something unexpected with the Sun conjunct Uranus. So it could be an unexpected health issue. You know, I don't want to say that. It doesn't have to necessarily be anything bad, but it could be, you know, you hurt your foot when you're walking or or something like that. An unexpected trip to a hospital is possible with the Sun conjunct Uranus in your 12th house. But for the most part, it's probably going to be for a lot of you something to do with your work and your daily routines, because you've had a lot of stuff going on in your 10th house of career. Saturn is moving towards the end of this house. It's actually 29 degrees. So taking responsibility for your career, and this full moon is trining Saturn, so it can be an unexpected new job. You suddenly quitting a job, you've suddenly had a job offer, you are changing your work, maybe you're changing your schedule, because the ruler of this, Mars, is in the 3rd house. This is about learning. Maybe you're having to learn something for a new job. Maybe the way that you travel and get to work can be changing. Maybe you suddenly have to commute. Maybe you are, with Pluto also ruling this in the 9th, maybe you are taking a course or wanting to learn something new to improve your work, improve your daily schedules, improve the work that you're doing. And that's going to be revealed under this full moon. And it can be something unexpected or there's a breakthrough with the Sun conjunct Uranus. Breakthrough to your routines. Now, for some of you, it can be, you know, something to do with your pets. It might be that you have to take your pet to a vet. Change in maybe you're deciding to do a new diet plan. Maybe you want to get fit for summer. All of that kind of stuff can come up. But I think for a lot of you, it's going to be something to do with your job. So you'll have to let me know in the comments, Gemini, what is going on for you. You guys get the Page of Fire, creativity. We're getting a lot of like early numbers here. So pages, it's about the beginning. Page of Fire. Let me read the positive affirmation, if I can find it, which I can't. There it is. So it's enthusiastic action, adventurousness, adventuring forth, beginning a project, acting on a new idea. I am free to venture forth, for co-creating a life true to my desire is my right. I am finding my purpose as I take the first step into something new. My ideas have value and I dream boldly. So do let me know, Gemini, because I do feel like a lot of you, there's going to be some changes in your job. So that's really, really encouraging. And yeah, let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next one. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in your 5th house of children, creativity, business, romance, partnerships. So you are having some kind of breakthrough here, Cancer. Now the 5th house is a lot of different things. So it can be, there's going to be a variety of things it can be. Now, for some of you, this will have something to do with your children. It could be that you are spending money on a child. Something is happening in your child's life. You are having a breakthrough when it comes to children. So if you've been trying to have children, perhaps you are having a breakthrough when it comes to an IVF appointment. The Sun conjunct Uranus speaks towards medicine, forward, thinking outside the box, scientific breakthroughs when it comes to having children. An appointment or something could be possible here for some of you, especially because, Mars has been doing this whole retrograde process, which has been stifling some of you when it comes to either decisions around children or something happening in your child's life, like I said, or being able to get pregnant. And now there's this breakthrough coming. Mars is out of its shadow phase. You've got the full moon here conjunct Uranus, so it's like, okay, this is the next step. So something's happening here. Trining Saturn in the ninth, an element of responsibility, or an element of your beliefs being involved here. Saturn in the ninth house, maybe your beliefs have been challenged at some point. Now, whether it's to do with your children or whether it's to do with your business or what you're creating, there's an element of you being supported by Saturn here about making the right decision. Now, if it's not to do with children, it can be something to do with romance. This is your love life. An unexpected date. Maybe you're going on a date. Maybe something unexpected is happening with your partner. Maybe you're meeting a friend through a partner with a Sun conjunct Uranus. This is the house of friendships. Maybe suddenly you're going on a date with a friend. Anything can happen between groups, friendships, and your partner. Or it can be, something to do with your goals, you and your partner's goals, and something coming to light about you and your partner's goals. It can have something to do with money, because both of the rulers of this are in your financial houses. So there can be an element associated with money or associated with what you value, what you want, and what you're willing to go after. So again, it's like these are the houses to do with Pluto is in your 8th house. It's about you transforming in some way. And Pluto's just been going retrograde. So you're going through this internal process at the moment of inward growth. Maybe a lot's been happening. Maybe there's been some stuff that's full on. And the full moon in Scorpio is going to highlight the intensity of your emotions. But the rulers of this are just challenging your values, challenging what you want, and challenging your own growth towards getting what you want and working towards those goals. So something could be happening with a partner, something could be happening with a child, something could be this is also the house of fun. So it's your own passion. So whether it's your business, whether it's something that you're creating, or your hobbies and your fun, it can just be something to do with you having fun. Maybe you want to start a new hobby. Maybe you want to join a new group and you're having to consider, is this what I really want to do? Or is this, can I afford to do this? There is, again, it's that financial piece, or that piece of what do I value and what's important. And you're having a realization about what you do for fun, or topics to do with fun, or your business are coming up. So when in terms of business, if you run your own business, this is the 5th house this is your creativity. So it's like, are you releasing a project? Are you deciding, actually, I don't want to do this anymore? Maybe you're deciding you want to quit but you could be like, right, I don't want to do my business anymore. That could be possible. Especially with the conjunction to Uranus, it's unexpected. That could be possible for some of you. I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this relationship. I've had enough of this business. All of that kind of stuff can come up. Or these intense emotions around, God, like, what am I really doing here? And thinking really deep into it, okay? So you'll have to let me know, Cancers, how is this manifesting for you? It is a sign that's friendly with you, because it's a fellow water sign, and this is a fun house. But I just think with this Mars-Pluto opposition, there's been a lot going on. And so this can be a bit of a culmination of that. And you guys get the 6 of fire. Okay, so that's it's a bit more promising than the 5 of fire. Let's read you the positive affirmation. Fire cards are all about stepping into
well, this is stepping into the limelight, but I'm thinking like creativity. Being an enlightened influencer. I can't speak today. I generously model my transformation so that others might be inspired. I put my light atop a hill so it can shine forth, helping others to find their way. I remain aware of shadows and people who have trouble basking in the warm light of higher awareness. I bless them, but I do not dim my own light, my own beacon. It's a time to renew my trust that I am contributing to the highest good of all in my own unique way. So actually, maybe, under this full moon, you're realizing you don't want to quit that business because you are an asset. People are following you. People are watching you. Maybe you're getting a lot of attention with Sun conjunct Uranus. Maybe you're having a breakthrough on the internet or something like that. Don't dim your light. Don't doubt yourself. And that card is saying, people are watching you. People are following you. And try not to doubt yourself. So that would be relevant in for some, in some ways. So yeah, let me know, Cancer, what's happening around this full moon for you, and I will see you in the next video. Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. This full moon in the sign of Scorpio. Oh, I just need to adjust it because it's moved into Sagittarius. There we go, sorry, just so you have the visual. This is happening in a very sensitive part of your chart, guys. How are we all doing? Is everyone okay? This is happening in your 4th house of your home, your family, your ancestors, your past, and your emotions. This is the part of the chart that is very, very deep and personal and private. This is your emotions, it's your family, it's everything that goes on behind closed doors. Something is coming out. Your emotions, you're going to feel very emotional under this, guys. Very emotional. You've got Mars in the 1st house. It's been opposing Pluto in the 7th. Something has probably been going on with you and another person. Now, the full moon, when we have a full moon in the 4th house, there can be an ending. It can be an ending to a living situation. It can be a change within the home environment. It could be moving back home. It can be, just a general change to your living situation. And it can involve your partner, and it can involve the direction of your life, because Mars is in the 1st house. What are you putting your motivations towards? Again, this is maybe something to do with your health and your physical body. Opposing Uranus in your 10th house of your public reputation. So something is coming out about you. Something's coming out. You're going to be seen. You're going to have a breakthrough with your goals, maybe. Maybe you're having a breakthrough with your goals around your family and home. Maybe you are feeling rebellious. You could be like wanting to quit your job. Sun conjunct Uranus in the 10th house is like, I want to be free from this career. I want to be free from this. But the main focus is how you feel with the moon in the 4th. Your emotions coming up. I don't want to do this. Or you're just being recognized as something unexpected at the moment. Your reputation is like suddenly something unexpected happening. And it can have something to do with private matters. But again, you're a fixed sign. So whatever's going on here, this is relevant for you guys. Now, the full moon is trining Saturn in your 8th. So there is positive influence from Saturn, but it's Saturn, your 8th house of transformation. Can have something to do with money. It can have something to do with your own personal transformation. What are you going through emotionally? Obviously, it's going to look different for everyone. It could be that you are, for some of you, it can be that you're like selling a house or something, or maybe you're being granted a mortgage for a house with Saturn right at the end of your 8th house. Changing living situation, change in reputation, change in status. Something to do with, home, family, private matters, and probably you and a partner. But I feel like it's public, or it's going to be public. You guys get the 5 of water. That was a bit of a trickier card. You're probably feeling a bit stuck in how you feel at the moment, but this is a very deep full moon. So, releasing grief, allowing sadness to rise and fall, forgiveness, and the ebb and flow of emotion. I feel the fullness of my emotions as they wash through me. The ebb and flow are part of life, and I am present in my feelings today. I fully forgive myself and others and let go of any emotions that were holding me back from acknowledging the truth. I deserve the freedom that comes when I release what is no longer working for me. I make amends to those I have harmed when emotion was colouring my perceptions, and I surrender any resentments to the divine, knowing they can be transformed into miracles. Fearless inventories lead to liberation. That's just about being in your feels, which you will be under this full moon. But hang in there, guys. Let me know what's going on. Is this a bit of an emotional time for some reason, or is it something to do with kind of physicalities of your home environment? Someone moving out, someone moving in, that kind of stuff can also show up. So let me know. Let me know what's going on, and I'll see you in the next one. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. You are experiencing this full moon in the sign of Scorpio in your third house. Now, the third house is many, many things. There's always, there's lots of things that can show up in the third house. So first and foremost, it really is our mind. So this can be mental. The sun is conjunct Uranus in your ninth house of your higher mind. So this is about being positive, seeing the bigger picture, thinking of, the world view. And this is about the details of things. But when these two are highlighted, there can be an element of just your mental health coming to the surface a bit. And especially because it's in the sign of Scorpio, you guys are going to be intense thinkers, deep thinkers. Maybe a bit of an element of overthinking is going to be going on, especially for you under this full moon. But this is also the house of your siblings, your relatives, your neighborhood, you like local communities, local groups, travel, like local travel. So for some of you, it could be that you're just suddenly traveling somewhere. You're having a breakthrough when it comes to travel. You're deciding to book a random trip with Sun conjunct Uranus. You're thinking, right, I can't stand this anymore. I'm booking a random trip. You could be having a breakthrough when it comes to learning. Have you finished learning something? Have you decided you don't want to learn something anymore? It could be that you are studying something, or you finished studying something, you're publishing something, you are broadcasting something to the world. Something with legal matters, paperwork and legal matters can show up in these houses. The ruler of this is Mars in your 12th house and Pluto in the 6th. So there is an element of things going on behind closed doors and you're healing. So this is why I think maybe this is going to be more about just like mental health. How can you look after your mental health? Can you spend time in solitude? Can you go to the spa? Are you taking a trip to a hospital? Are you taking a trip to a spa or a place of retreat? So, are you taking a trip? A lot of you, this is going to be like a doctor's appointment with both of the rulers in the health houses, a doctor's appointment, a breakthrough with a doctor's appointment, a breakthrough with a hospital trip, something like that. There's an element of having to communicate and paperwork. So the third house, I often see just things like you're having to go to the doctors, you're having to have an email, you're having to have a phone call, you're having to have, letter correspondence when it comes to appointments. It could be something to do with your work. What you've been working on in terms of things behind the scenes, something to do with your job. Maybe you are applying for a new job and you're doing all the kind of job applications. It can just be something like that. But with the conjunction to Uranus, it's something unexpected. So maybe it's like you're hearing from a recruitment company about a job. And it's going to be secret, Mars in the 12th. If you've already got a job, you don't want that. So there's kind of this element of detail, communication. But also at the same time, you may be feeling just kind of overthinking a lot under this. This is also the house of your siblings. So something unexpected can happen with a sibling, a conversation. Maybe they're going through something and they're sharing it with you under this full moon, or something like that can also be possible, Virgo. So we're going to pull a card. You guys get the King of Air. This could be a person. So this could be like a brother or a dad. Or an uncle, not a dad, because that's not really the third, that's more the fourth. But I would say a brother or an uncle could be relevant. Let's find the King of Air, or an authority figure. So again, this could be somebody that's offering you a job, somebody that you're communicating with about health, a doctor, that could be relevant. So intellectual authority, reason over instinct, intellect over passion, and successful negotiation, rules and laws. So again, it can be like a lawyer, or because especially with the Sun and Uranus in the 9th house, dealing with legal matters, and this is like the lawyer or the person, the barrister, whoever you've got to deal with. Truth is everything. I think before I act. I work the universal laws with clear intention. Do I see how the foundations of the past affect the present and the future? So this is just all about intellect, and again, it's really speaking towards that third house and thinking and communicating. It's so funny how these tarot cards are so accurate. So yeah, let me know, Virgo, what's going on. Does that make sense? You'll have to let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in your second house, in the sign of Scorpio. So this is probably quite financial for you, because this is your house of finances, values, possessions, self-worth. Now the Sun is conjunct Uranus in your 8th house. So something unexpected could be happening with joint resources. You could be having a realization about your money, paying something off. It can be about your money goals for the future. Maybe you're investing in, maybe you're suddenly, because of the element of Uranus here, this is something unexpected. So it could be you suddenly decide to put some money in crypto, or you suddenly win some money of a, what's it called? Bond, premium bond. It could be that you're suddenly having to pay something because of a child with Pluto in your 5th house. You could be having a breakthrough with money, with your finances in some way. You know, a new job is possible. Maybe having a breakthrough with your business. Maybe if you work for an organization that's affecting your finances in some way, with Mars up here in the 11th house. The full moon is trining Saturn in your 6th house of work. So again, this can be actually quite helpful. So it's either going to be paying something off, coming into some money, borrowing some money. It's all very financial. It could also be that you are having a breakthrough when it comes to money manifesting, or really understanding your self-worth. When you have Scorpio in the 2nd house, you can really manifest money. You are one of the signs, because of Scorpio on your 2nd house, you're able to manifest money. You're able to use magic to make money come into you. And maybe under this full moon, that's what you're doing. You could be setting money intentions, or making money come to you in some way. Now you guys get the 7 of Air, or 7 of Swords tarot card. I'm going to read the positive affirmation to you. Again, this is kind of like air cards are about thinking and intellect. So this says independence, non-conformity, living life on one's own terms without people pleasing. Now is the time for me to live my life on my own terms, so I must find the courage to reject conformity. Listening to my yearning for independence is key to breaking free of groupthink and attending to my own needs. Diplomacy with others can help me be true to my call and do what I know I must do for myself. So it could be that some of you are deciding to take some sort of leap of faith and start your own business. Or you're quitting a job because you don't like it anymore. You know, with the element of Pluto in the 5th, it's like, what can you create that's your own business? That won't apply to all of you, but it will possibly apply to some of you, with Saturn trining in your 6th house of your work. Like it says, not conforming to the norm, and you learning, Libra, to make your own decisions. We know this is one of your lessons, and not rely so much on other people's decisions. You are capable of making your own. So whatever's coming up under this full moon, whether it's to do with money, whether it's to do with what you value, what's important to you, what is important to you, that can be a piece to this. So let me know in the comments if that resonates, and I will see you in the next one. Scorpio, the star of the show, Sun, Moon and Rising. This full moon is taking place in your own sign. You are used to this energy, but it doesn't make it any easier. So when we have full moons in the 1st house, this can kind of tie into any aspect of our lives. Do you have your placements around the 22-degree mark? You will feel this more strongly. But just the fact that you've got all of this going on in your angular houses, you know, you've had Mars opposite Pluto, the Sun is conjunct Uranus in your 7th house of relationships, and it's opposing you. So there can be a change within your relationships. There can be a change with the direction of your life. There can be a change with your career. There can be a change with your home, or a family member. Any of these things can come up, because when, like I said, full moon in the 1st is anything to do with any aspect of you. The 1st house is you. It's your identity. It's who you are. It's also your physical body. The rulers, Mars, 10th house of career. So a change in your career, a change in your status. It can be a breakup, a sudden breakup, or a sudden relationship is possible with Sun conjunct Uranus in your 7th house. There can be an element of you wanting to break free. You know, you've had enough of this, or you and your partner are making a breakthrough. But there can be a change to your status. There can be something going on emotionally for you, something that's private, something that's happening behind closed doors. But the full moon itself is trining Saturn in your 5th house of romance. So taking responsibility when it comes to relationships. Meeting somebody unexpected, or, making, like I said, making that breakthrough with a partner is possible. But it could also be to do with the 7th house is also like our friendships, best friends, but also business partnerships. So the people that you work with, the people that you collaborate with, especially with Mars in the 10th in your house of career. Who do you work with? Things coming up, things happening, things changing. Sun conjunct Uranus is change. So there can be changes to the people that you work with, changes to your relationships in some way. So you will have to let me know what's going on. Just be careful with communication, because Mercury is in your 7th house. Okay, well, he wanted to come out. Mercury is in your 7th house, squaring Pluto. So there's an element of making sure that you are not forcing your opinions onto other people, you're listening to others, not controlling other people's ideas or thoughts, or trying to push, you shouldn't think like that. That kind of stuff can happen with Mercury squaring Pluto, but it can also be that you're overthinking stuff. And obviously, being a Scorpio, both of these planets are your chart rulers, and they've been in opposition with one another. So has there been tension at home? Has there been tension with family members? Has there been tension with career matters or home matters in some way? You guys also get the King of Air. This is an authority figure, possibly. It can be a male person in your life. It can be a family member, or it can be somebody that you work with as male, and maybe there's some tension going on with somebody that you work with. But I'll read you the affirmation. It doesn't really give you too much of an affirmation on this one, but I'll read it to you anyway. It just says, intellectual authority, reason over instinct, intellect over passion, successful negotiation, rules and laws. And what's interesting is this 7th house is the house of negotiation. This is the house of Libra. It's about partnership and seeing things fairly in contracts. So there can be an element of contracts involved. Truth is everything. You're a Scorpio, you know that. I think before I act. I work the universal laws with clear intention. Do I see how the foundations of the past affect the present and the future? So think before you act. Let's try and not be impulsive. Let's try not to be impulsive under this, because I know you guys can be quite impulsive, because you're acting on that fire, Mars energy, and also emotion at the same time. So you can be like, just take a breath, communicate with somebody if you need to, and make sure that you're listening at the same time. But yeah, let me know, Scorpio, if that resonates, or if you know what that's going to be about, and I will see you in the next video. Sagittarius. Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in your 12th house. This is the house of solitude, healing, hospitals, prisons, confinement, places of worship, so churches, spiritual churches. This is the house of spirituality and energy healing. So a full moon here is highlighting something. The ruler is Mars and Pluto, so there can be an element of having to have faith around something that's been going on behind closed doors. Could be that you're visiting a hospital. Pluto in the 3rd, it's about trips and visits. It could be that you're visiting a hospital. It can be something to do with your siblings or your relatives. Maybe a sibling or a relative is visiting a hospital and there's appointments. Sun conjunct Uranus is a breakthrough with your health. So maybe you are having a sudden appointment. Maybe you are having a change to your daily schedules and your work because of something that you are healing, or because of something going on behind closed doors. Now, this is also the house of spirituality, so it can be that you are just focusing on meditation, on going to the spa, taking a local trip. That's also possible. But there's a call to faith here around something that you need to heal. Maybe you're going through a transformative experience behind closed doors, and you're being asked to have some faith, or maybe you're learning something about, maybe you're studying something behind the scenes, or you're studying something behind closed doors in depth in some way. The 12th house is it can be pain and suffering on the negative end, but it can also be just a place where we heal, place where we go, place where we heal, place where we just find peace in solitude. Now, this would be a really good energy to be meditating, to be working with water, and to be, you know, like I said, going to a spa and being in water and relaxing. Journaling, things that are going to help with your mental health, journaling, affirmations, gratitudes, all of that could be helpful, because Scorpio in the 12th house can be very, very intense when it comes to your subconscious thoughts, what's going on for you subconsciously. Now, the full moon itself is trining Saturn in your 4th, so there's support here from family in some way. This is also the house of secrets, so sometimes secrets can come up under full moons in the 12th house. But the main element here is that something is being highlighted that you need to heal and you need to let go of. And whether you go to a place of solitude to do that, or whether you work with energy and spiritual work to do that, something is coming up under this full moon for you. And I do think for a lot of you it's something to do with either your health or your routines, with the Sun conjunct Uranus piece. Because Sun conjunct Uranus is like, my routines are changing, my health is changing. Oh, or I'm having a breakthrough. Maybe you're having a breakthrough with your health. You guys actually get the 10 of Earth. It's a very positive card. There's a lot of resources for you, is what that is kind of saying. There's a lot of resources here for you. So affluence, material abundance, mastery, financial security, inherited wealth and knowledge. So this is a money card, but try and think of this more as a, you have a lot of resources to help you get through something card. So it says, I'm now able to step back and observe the results of what I built through my dedication and hard work. I claim ownership of the castles I built that have taken form in the material world. I have achieved mastery and inherited treasures of knowledge and experience thanks to all I have been through. I smile appreciatively at my run of good fortune. So take the money aspect out of that. It's more about, like it says, the knowledge and everything that you've been through. Like, she's very strong, so it's like you've got to take your strength and everything that you've been through, and just sit with your wisdom and sit with your knowledge under this full moon, because that will guide you through whatever it is that you're going through. I hope that resonates. Let me know in the comments if it does, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in Scorpio in your 11th house. So this is your friendships, your groups, your organizations, and the goals and your goals for the future. Now, a full moon here can be that you are something's happening with a friend, something's happening in a friend's life, something's happening in an organization. Maybe you're quitting a group that you're a part of. Maybe you are joining some sort of therapy group or spiritual group or tarot group. You know, you've got Mars and Pluto both in your money houses, but these are also the houses of, you know, what I value and things on a deeper level. So it could be that you're spending money on being involved with a group of people in some way, but it could also be this is about your future money goals and what you're working towards, and you're having a realization under this full moon. How am I going to get here? Am I going to afford this? You know, the Sun conjunct Uranus in your 5th house is like something unexpected happening with a child, or with something that you're creating, or with your love life. So something unexpected happening with a partner or with a child that's highlighting your goals or what you both are working towards. And it's also inviting a piece of intimacy or borrowing some money. Borrowing or paying off something is also possible. Or there can be something happening in a friend's life. Now, the full moon itself is trining Saturn in your 3rd. So this is about good communication, good connection, you know, somebody supporting you. But the 11th house is, yeah, it's our hopes and our dreams and our wishes for the future. It's charity work, it is humanitarian work, so these themes can come up as well. You know, even things like, are you doing a charity run? All of that stuff can kind of come up. But with the Sun conjunct Uranus in the 5th, there's an element of something unexpected, or a breakthrough with a child or a partner, but it's involving your goals for the future, or your friends, or your groups. You'll have to let me know how this is resonating for you. You guys get the Justice card. Number 11. Haven't had that for ages. I'm going to read you the positive affirmation. Karma. The law of cause and effect is in play now as I see elements in my life balance out. What goes around comes around. I'm now seeing evidence of this law in the conditions of my world. So what's happening, Capricorn? What's happening karmically for you? This full moon is trining Saturn, which is the planet of karma. It's either good karma or bad karma. It can kind of, you know, if you see things happening in your life, like it says, what goes around comes around. So what has been helpful? Are you being helped by a friend? And is that because you've helped people in the past? Are you having to help a friend? And that's because you've helped them in the past. You know, all of these things can come up to do with the things I've already mentioned. I won't keep repeating. Or also that, let's just not forget that this also is organisation. So if you work in a large organisation, then that can show up here as well. So it can have something to do with the organisations that you're a part of. So for example, if you work in a school or for the government or, you know, for the NHS, that can often show up in the 11th house because you're being of service to a large group of people. This is also the house of the internet. So something can happen here, you know, to do with your finances or your values and a large audience in some way. So you'll have to let me know how this is manifesting for you, and I will see you guys in the next one. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in your 10th house of career, public image, reputation, status. The Sun is conjunct Uranus in your 4th house. So this is speaking towards some sort of breakthrough, some sort of unexpected event within your home, within your family, to do with, or, you know, it's opposing your status in the world, who you are as a person. Now, for some of you, yes. For a few of you, it can be a relationship change. You've had this tension between Mars and Pluto in your partnerships and 1st house for a while. So it can be a relationship change. It can be a business, you know, or a career change. You've got Pluto in your 1st house, so you guys are going through some sort of transformation, and Pluto has just gone retrograde. So you are being asked to go inward. How do you want to rise from the ashes, Aquarius? Because you guys are experiencing this Pluto transit the most. How do you want to rise from the ashes? How do you want to live with integrity and not have to fake anything anymore? And there's tension that has been building with your partnerships for a while. So if you are in a relationship that is no longer serving you, that is going to eventually move away. So for some of you, yes, this could be a change in your relationship, and that would be affecting your home and family. But this could also be a career change. You know, tensions between you and another person. Maybe you and a person at work, and you're deciding you don't want this career anymore. So this can be a new job. It can be things at work are having to change because of things to do with your partner. Now, this full moon is trining Saturn in your 2nd house of money. So again, it can be a job offer coming to you, something coming to you that's actually going to be benefiting your finances with the trine to Saturn. Taking more responsibility for your own money is also possible. How can you get rid of your fear of poverty and take responsibility for your finances? That's what you've been learning through this Saturn transit. And the full moon in the 10th, it can be a job change, going back to do something that you used to do, or, you know, just being offered a new job. Just changing careers, all possible. And Scorpio is the sign of transformation. It's opposing Uranus, so a sudden change, and it can make you feel emotionally insecure. It can make you feel emotionally like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And obviously this will very much depend on whether you've got personal planets around 22 degrees, especially with the fixed signs, because as to how impactful this full moon is, because sometimes full moons are just like a small event, sometimes it can be a really big event. Sorry, this card has jumped out. Where's it gone? It's under me. It's under me. Okay, you get the full card. Go for it. There's a new adventure here for you, Aquarius. We know you're rebellious, so go for it. There's a new start for you here, and you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have everything to plan. You are being encouraged to wander free. And I'll read you the positive affirmation. But just in summary, there's a change here for your career, your public image, your reputation. There can also be this can also affect family members, because this is family and this parents' family show up in both these houses. So there can be a change with a family member. But the Fool card is saying enthusiasm. I know that a spiritual approach rarely appears logical and sometimes even seems impractical. However, when this card appears, I can take a risk and trust that with faith, anything is possible. The invisible realms will reveal each step along the way. I am meant to experience this regardless of where I travel. This is a time when I'm learning that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. So it's encouraging you to just kind of go on a little adventure and see where life takes you. So good luck, Aquarius. Let me know what's going on for you and how this full moon is playing out for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in the sign of Scorpio in your 9th house. This is the house of travel, higher education. This is your beliefs. This is your world view. This is learning. This is also the house of the law. So a full moon here is a realization, and it's asking you to have some sort of faith, a call to faith, a call to spirituality. Having trust that there's more to life, you know, having faith. This, for some of you, this can have something to do with learning. So both of these houses are learning. So the 3rd house is like teaching, learning new things, details of things, working with lots of information and communication. And the 9th house is studying something higher, like higher education. This is like university or just college courses. So for some of you, it could be that you are, because the ruler of this is in the 6th house and Pluto, the modern ruler, is in the 12th. Could be that you are studying something behind closed doors. It could be that you're having to learn something, having to study something for work. It could be that you are receiving some information about legal matters. So the 9th house, it can be, you know, legal documentation like passports, birth certificates. It can be things to do with marriage and divorce. So things can come up here under these topics. Travel, you could literally be traveling somewhere. Sun conjunct Uranus is like, okay, let's go somewhere, let's go on a trip. So going on a trip, random trip. Having faith or something is showing up here to do with health for some of you, because both of the rulers are in your health houses. So and it's the same as Virgo, because it's opposite, but the same. Something here about expanding your knowledge about your health. So it can be about, you know, seeing the bigger picture or studying something or having to go and learn something to do with your health. You can have a breakthrough within an appointment. But the piece here is about how are you transforming around and learning more about health matters in some way. And the full moon itself is trining Saturn in your 1st house. So this is about you stepping up to the mark. You know, maybe Saturn's the father, maybe you're wanting to become a father, maybe you're wanting to become a parent, maybe you are wanting to take some responsibility, and the full moon here is encouraging you to do that, but it's encouraging you to think positively, think outside the box and expand your mind when it comes to that. But there's an element of appointments or hospitals or doctors or some aspect to your health for some of you. For others, it's going to be like maybe traveling for work, traveling to a faraway place for work. Something to do with your pets can come up here, you know, like reflecting and thinking a lot about pets is also possible. Yeah, I think I've kind of mentioned everything. You know, a teacher or a guru can come up here, can show up here. Someone that's going to teach you something about your health or teach you something about a project that you're working on. That's also possible as well, Pisces. Let's pull a tarot card for you. Now, Mars is trining Venus in your second house. So, you know, you are receiving support from the planet to do with your values, what's important, and connections. And you guys also get the Fool card. That was weird. So that just came out for Aquarius and you're getting it again. So again, this is about going on an adventure. You're starting something new and you don't know where it's going to take you, and you have to have faith and enthusiasm. I know that a spiritual approach rarely seems logical and sometimes even seems impractical. However, when this card appears, I can take a risk and trust that with faith, anything is possible. The invisible realms will reveal each step along the way. I am meant to experience this regardless of where I travel. This is a time when I am learning that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So something may occur that you are being called to have faith. Again, what we've just said, you might be having to have faith around something. And that card is affirming that. So let me know, Pisces, does that resonate? How is it resonating? And that's the end of the video now, guys. So if you got value from that, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't lose me in the YouTube abyss. I'm also on TikTok, Georgie Ogden 444, and Instagram, Georgie Ogden Astrology. Come and follow me on there. Different content on there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm also on Substack now, which is also linked. So if you like reading content, then come and subscribe. You can subscribe to the newsletter for free, where I kind of do like a monthly energy breakdown. Or if you want to become a paid subscriber and support my work, it's only as little as $2.99 a month to become a paid Substack member. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.